What up, people? What's good? Salute.
Yes, sir.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Salute to the tribe. We're hip hop and comics and hip hop. We're a niche channel. Reserved for the best. Welcome everybody to the sixth element of hip hop. I'm your host Reno Noir. This is my co-host Stu Dog. We got Sada in the building, and my man OG Lee finally making an appearance. We haven't seen him in so long. We so glad to have you, brother. How you doing?
Good, man.
Stu, how y'all doing? Sada, what's good with you?
We're doing good.
Doing good.
Yeah. So I hope everyone's seen Moon Knight.
No,
because we're gonna talk about it. I will give you warning now. There may be some spoiler aspects. You're not gonna. It's not there. There's not a whole lot in this first episode to be spoiled. I mean, you kind of know everything from the trailer. As far as this first one, there's not much else to it. Stu, did you get to watch it?
Yep.
Cool.
And you know
all right. And Lito's Way in the building. Shout out. What's good, my brother? Salute. Yeah, and we got my man, Kid Creole, the homie. Y'all remember him from
Soul Sonic Force. It is.
Yeah, well, the Furious Five.
Furious Five.
Yeah.
Did he stab somebody? He stabbed somebody.
Yeah, he stabbed. Yeah, John Jolly.
Yeah, but they were claiming it was self-defense, right?
Yeah, he is claiming self-defense. Kid Creole, part of Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, the first rap group to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He's on trial for murder in New York City. Creole, whose real name is Nathaniel Glover, is accused of stabbing a homeless man to death in 2017. His trial began Friday, but he's been locked up ever since then. Had no bail. He's been in jail this whole time. I didn't even know, but the rapper is claiming self-defense in the case. Creole allegedly stabbed John Jolly twice in the chest with a steak knife after becoming enraged because his lawyer said he thought Jolly was gay and hitting on him. So this could be a hate crime. The stabbing incident happened as Creole was heading to his maintenance job in Midtown Manhattan around midnight on August 1st, 2017. Jolly allegedly asked him, "What's up?" to precipitate a confrontation. Ladies and gentlemen, this is New York City. It's 12 o'clock at night. Who's saying "what's up" to you with good intentions? Creole's lawyer, Scotty Celestine, told the jury, for fear of his life was reasonable. Celestine also claimed Jolly died from a dose of the sedative benzodiazepine at the hospital, also known as Xanax or Valium or Ativan. There's a few of them, but not the stab wounds. So the assistant district attorney, Mark Dahl, countered the argument. He said Creole confessed to the police that and didn't stab Jolly in self-defense, but rather in anger because he thought Jolly was hitting on him. The defendant confessed to pulling out a kitchen knife and repeatedly thrusting it into the body of a stranger on the street, killing him, Dahl said. Was there anything that would prevent him from simply running away from Mr. Jolly? No. Grandmaster Flash, the Furious Five, is best known for their 1982 rap song, The Message. The group formed in late 1970s in the Bronx and became the first rap act to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But as they say, man, don't push me because I'm close to the edge. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not even going to comment on that.
I mean, listen.
I have nothing to say on that.
It goes down. But also Kid Creole, but he is a pioneer. He's a legend in the game. I mean, he did contribute. Apparently, he coined the phrase "yes, y'all," which in the 80s was used by every MC. Yes, y'all, as a transition between rhymes. That he sort of just coined it, doing it, in a freestyle, transitioning between rhymes. He would say the rhyme, woo, 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 yes, y'all, yes, y'all, woo, 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 like that. And
you'd be like, yes, y'all.
Yeah, if you're from the 80s, if you lived in the 80s or even early 90s, you definitely heard the term yes, y'all. So It's like how Lil Wayne coined bling bling. I mean, some of these, some is hip hop slang that's been ingrained in the culture, or just in American English language. But yeah, man, as the Kid Creole, an original member of legendary hip hop collective Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, Slade Wilson, salute. What's good, brother? It's a big hip hop and comics thing to me. Like that's why, because the Furious Five clearly got their name from the Fantastic Four. I mean, that's pure comic inspiration right there, guys. So we know how comics have inspired hip hop, and hip hop has inspired comics, and it's inspired me to start this channel and you guys to come and make it great. So, Furious Five, big respect. He's a respected, influential, early pioneer of the culture. But today he is Nathaniel Glover, a man battling in two different courts: the court of law and the court of public opinion. The boat, also known as the Vernon C. Bain Correctional Center, an 800-bed maritime dormitory jail barge anchored off the southern shore of the Bronx directly across from Rikers Island, currently houses Glover, and he's been held without trial since early August 2017. I mean, what do y'all think? You think that's extreme? Without trial since 2017?
That he's been held on a boat?
That he's been held without trial since 2017. That's a long ass time.
It depends, bro. It depends. Like I don't know how the laws are out there. I just know how the laws are here.
Right.
And here, once you go for your first court appearance, your arraignment, right?
Where is here?
Talk fast, and they ask you.
He's out west.
They
I know.
ask
I just tell the people where you are.
They ask, do you waive the right to a speedy trial?
Right.
Once you say yes, they could take like X amount of days that they want because you just waived your right for a speedy trial.
Right.
And they'll come up with all these things out here. Like, it's just insane, man. Like, to be held that long. I know cats that was locked up in my county jail here for like 3-4 years fighting murder beefs. You know what I'm saying? I mean, in his case, I don't know the logistics as far as.
To be in the county.
Yeah, it is, man.
That's what I'm saying.
County 364. County 364.
For him to be held that long, like, I don't know if he's requesting a speedy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know the logistics of his trial, of his case, to say it's messed up or not. I mean, like a lot of it.
I mean, OG Lee, are you talking from experience? I mean, have you had some run-ins with the law where?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, would you had to waive your right to a speedy trial? You know what I mean? Being that you're a vigilante and all that, you know, you might have got caught up in some things.
There's just there's a lot of things that they don't tell us as we're going through the system that you got to kind of know yourself. Like I said, laws vary from state to state. I just know California state laws, and like I mess up a lot of stuff. Like people that are going to court that don't know no better, because when I'm sitting next to them, I tell them their rights. I tell them what waivers to file, and they don't like that, man. They don't like that.
Yeah,
but like that's just how it goes. Like I'm just not gonna let the next man sit there because he doesn't know better, just get railroaded, you know?
Right. No, and you're right, and you're in California, but I've had my share of run-ins in Florida, in the state of Florida. It's the same thing. Yeah, you waive your right to speedy trial, and they can lock you. But I've never been held in county longer than 30 days, waiting on a trial. You know that's. But again, I've never like gone to trial. I always either have pled out or dealt with a deal on the side or whatever. Because they'll always give you they'll be like, well, you can get probation if you plead guilty or no contest, but if you take it to trial, you might get a few years in prison. That's what they tell you. So of course you're like, okay, let's make a deal. I'll take the probation and the guilty, verdict. It's not always the best way to go if you have the means to have a proper lawyer. But if you're dealing with a public defender or you just don't like your chances, then you take that deal, man. And it's not a fair, the justice system in America is not fair, but it's the one we got. It's what we got. It's for better or worse. It works in some cases, but I think in most cases it tends to you risk the lives of innocent people, which is unfortunate. But Stu, you being on the other side, working in the penal system, What do you think about it? About that?
Wow. Listen, the law is the law, and it reads a certain way. I agree with the law. I agree with how it's written. I agree with everything about the law. What I don't agree with is how it's run. Because it's not run the way it's written. So like,
Right.
if you got money, a lot of times you don't go to jail.
Right.
If you got influence, you don't go to jail. Um, Basically, when you see a court case, like okay, Trayvon Martin, perfect example. Um, in this country, vigilantism is outlawed. Period. Point blank. In
Mm-hmm.
discussion, is outlawed. So that law doesn't vary from state to state. It's the same thing all the way across the board. So when Zimmerman shot Trayvon Martin, he was actually in the act of being a vigilante, patrolling the neighborhood, looking for crimes to stop when there were none in the neighborhood that he was in. He
And
had a
then
gun on him,
profiled an innocent kid, and
profiled an innocent kid, killed
that's
him.
why vigilantism is illegal.
And so when they played the 911 tape, they told him to stop following the kid. They're going to send a patrol car to handle the situation because that's their job. So he tried to do their job. Now, where it gets sticky is when he went to court. The lawyers, they they fandangle the jury. So like they say you get a jury of your peers. And I've seen that not happen.
Right.
Because what they'll say is they'll take the four of us in here and they'll say, well, what do you do for a living? Where do you work? How many kids do you have? And they don't base that on the person, peace, multiverse, on the person that's sitting there. They base it on the fact of whether this person is going to be sympathetic towards their client or not and help them win this case. And that's wrong because
Yeah.
a jury of peers means that okay, if he's a million, like if you got somebody like OJ was a millionaire, you couldn't
Right.
get 12 millionaires to sit on that sit on that jury and
Mm-hmm.
judge him because ain't no millionaires gonna go sit in court. They're not gonna go sit in court. That's a
Right.
jury of his peers because they're
And
millionaires.
a young
They
black man, a young blue collar black man is not going to get 12 blue collar black men to sit on the jury either.
exactly sit on a jury. So it's really not a jury of your peers,
Yeah.
and they don't make sure that it is. So it's when they say peers, it's got to be all around. It's got to be universal all around. So like a jury of my peers would be people that make the same amount of money as I do, live in the
Yeah.
same neighborhoods, have the same,
Same
views
or
that I do,
similar
regardless of
culture.
what I
Yeah.
did. Right, regardless of what I did, they still kind of fall into that same demographic where they kind of understand,
So they can
my
understand
life,
you.
where we are. So when you go back, and one of the jurors, I watched an interview with one of the jurors, and the lady said that they kept sending letters to the judge and asking about crime, and the judge was like, "Don't worry about that. Don't worry about this. All you need to do is this, that, and the other."
Mm-hmm.
And the lady said, when they did it, she said, "We knew it was wrong, but they wouldn't give us the information that we needed in order for us to make a better decision." And Zimmerman got off because of their lack of knowledge and his lawyers picking the right people, because that's all it really is. They pick the right people to either rule for you or against you, and that's just what it is. It's the same thing. It's the same thing when a cop shoots somebody. Like people don't really realize this, and I'm gonna tell y'all this right now, live. It's a murder. It's a straight up murder. The only reason why they go to court is to justify it, to see if it's a justifiable murder
Right.
or it's not a justifiable murder. 90% of the time, it's unjustified. It's unjustified. They find a way to justify it. But if you
Mm-hmm.
really go back and you look at the evidence, and you sit there and you like when we saw Orlando got shot. We saw Orlando get shot live on camera. How can you justify that? They had guns drawn on the man the whole time.
Right.
That's a no-no. You don't draw a gun on nobody unless you're gonna shoot it.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
mean, what your pop always tell you, don't pull your gun out unless you're gonna shoot it.
Unless you're gonna use it.
Right.
Well, so
So
what do you think then about Kid Creole being locked up on the boat for what? Like 5
I
years
think
now?
it, well,
Waiting for
I think
trial?
because of his status of what he is and what they're going through with Rikers right now, because they're actively trying to shut Rikers down. New York's trying to reform their prison system, so that they're in the midst of whether they're going to shut Rikers down or not.
Well, he's on the
just
barge
dispersing.
across from Rikers.
Right. That's what I'm saying. His status is what's keeping him on that barge because he's famous. He might have some, he probably got some residual money. He's famous. He got some money. Got some influence.
I
So they're
don't know.
not
I
gonna
think
put
he's
him in
working at
jail.
like Kinko's.
Yeah, but New York people know who he is. For us, we might be like, if he walked past one of us in Burger King in your time, you probably wouldn't know who he was. But a lot of people in New York do. So you know what I mean? Yeah, you probably think he was just the average Joe. You wouldn't know who he was. I think it's wrong that they're keeping him on that barge as long as they are.
Yeah,
He
I
should have
did.
been went to
I did.
trial. I mean, I give COVID the blame of that because it happened in 17. So you got what 19, 20. Yeah, they should have been.
18,
His case should
19,
have been.
20.
Yeah, his case should have been top of the pile when everything started rolling again.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but that's again, like I told you, the lawyers manipulating the system. They know the longer he sit there, the more chance they got to get him off. So
Hmm.
they don't care. They want him to sit there.
And
Right.
he's 61 now. Like he went in, he was like 54. Now that man's 61. Like he's in a
Right.
whole nother decade bracket. But he's charged with murder in the second degree right now after the run-in with John Jolly, who is 55, would it be 55, a registered sex offender who confronted him just before midnight on a Midtown Manhattan street. As the rap legend headed to his nearby night job as a copy operator, which I think is like a Kinko's or something like that. Later that evening, Jolly died after being admitted to Bellevue Hospital. Glover has been in custody ever since, and accused of stabbing him twice in the chest. And the details exactly of what transpired between the two men are best suited for courtroom deliberation, but a trial date has yet to be set. Meanwhile, Glover was shocked to find himself depicted as in the press as a homophobic rapper who killed in a fit of rage. His account is starkly different. After 3.5 years of incarceration, for the first time since that fateful night, he spoke about inaccurate reports, false charges, and character misconceptions. That what would be ideal for me would be for the total truth to come out, he said, over the phone from the correctional facility where he's being held. He's never disputed that he had a knife that night and that he used it against Jolly, yet contends it is a clear-cut case of self-defense, not murder, and certainly not the result of some misguided hatred towards the LGBTQ community. He said, now I'm fighting the image that they portrayed me as a person who is intolerant of people with alternative lifestyles, and that's not true. So he did make that statement. And Glover, his account begins as he walks to work, listening to music in his ear pods, passes John Jolly, who's leaning against a wall, drinking a beer in a paper bag. Jolly speaks to him, says, like, what's up? Glover stops, removes the ear pods to hear him. His initial impression is that Jolly's attempting some form of pickup. Glover attempts to walk away, and Jolly follows, aggressively pressing him a second time, at which point Glover smells alcohol on Jolly's breath, reassesses his initial thought, and now is certain that Jolly's intention is to harm him. Glover attempts to walk away again, and Jolly pursues, trying to grab Glover, who ultimately defends himself against an apparent assailant. He said they basically portrayed me as the villain when I was just the one walking down the street minding my own business. He said, I have no intention when I left my house that night to do anything harmful to anybody for any reason. And that's seems pretty clear. I mean, you don't leave your house with intentions to kill a stranger who's going to talk to you. You don't know that's going to happen. So premeditated is out the door. But second degree, and his depiction is supported by video. There's surveillance from the footage from the scene. The moment that any violence occurred is out of camera frame, though, and yet the footage of the preceding moments appears identical to Glover's description. So he's not lying about walking away, trying to walk away, being pressed and pursued, and that's important. And what may be most telling and bolsters Glover's claims of innocence the strongest are the moments in the late footage after the two men part company. In addition to the matter of who was really the assailant and who was the victim, it also raises serious questions as to whether the injuries Jolly suffered in his encounter with Glover were the actual cause of his death. That's still under question. And while Kid Creole, I'm not gonna call him Glover, we know him as Kid Creole. As Creole kept walking, he's not seen again. on the video. And Jolly walks back into the frame, returns to drinking his beer, displaying no indication of suffering a deadly attack just seconds earlier. He's definitely not holding his chest and falling down dead. Presumably, any mortal stab wounds, as well as Jolly's resulting condition from them, would be visible and yield a reaction from a passerby. Yet numerous pedestrians passed Jolly without a second glance, including a street sweeper where the entire time looking up. Was there the entire time looking up. The footage continues to show Jolly then attempting to follow in Glover's direction again, apparently changed his mind before casually walking without staggering in the opposite direction, again passing numerous pedestrians who display no reaction, like they would if a man had like gaping chest wounds or was dying from being stabbed. Jolly's altercation with Kid Creole was apparently one of several confrontational episodes he had that evening that is on footage. Documents indicate after his running with Glover, Jolly was found one block over on 44th Street, having to be restrained after displaying erratic and combative behavior towards paramedics called to assist him. Medical reports show when admitted to Bellevue Hospital, Jolly had a semicircular laceration to his head and an injury not there when he had his run-in with Glover, indicating some incident afterward. And it was further reported that Jolly continued such volatile behavior once admitted to Bellevue, and it was administered a sedative, after which Jolly's heart stopped and expired. So he's in the hospital acting so combative that they give him, either Xanax or Ativan or Valium, which, if you've ever done any of these, pills, they're extremely strong. And if you're not used to them or don't have a tolerance to them, they're extremely dangerous and will put you on your ass. Like no question. And many people die every day from those drugs. And especially if he was on alcohol, which he was, mixing that with benzodiazepine is fatal. He could have been on opiates, which could be fatal. Many combinations of drugs could be fatal when they gave him that benzodiazepine. Now, Kid Creole's journey from fame, just so if you guys are young and don't know, you got to understand who we're talking about right here. And you guys, please chime in. I know I've been talking a lot, but you guys can chime in. But yeah, his journey to fame began in 1976 when, along with his brother Melvin, aka Melly Mel, he became immersed in a fledgling art form at that time, taking root in the South Bronx neighborhood, which was unyet known. My man Slade is amazed right now. But yeah, it was yet unyet known by that time. There was no hip hop yet. Rap hadn't even been a thing. Having been introduced to poetry as a craft by their sister Glander, the Glover brothers developed syncopated rhyme patterns, clever lyrics, and a polished stage presence under the MC names Kid Creole and Melly Mel. And they definitely wore like costumes, and remember the spiked vests and the studded leather.
You know, that was the thing back then, Reno.
That was the shit back then, dog. Remember
we got
band,
down back then.
how we did it, man. Band, the sunglasses.
I was
young. I was real young.
Got down like that.
Yeah, no, I was real young.
But
my older cousins and people around me in the neighborhood and stuff. I had my spike bracelets. I got one now. I mean, but I had my spike bracelets on. We wore parachute pants.
I had a spike belt. Bracelet, all that, man. Yeah,
I mean, that's how that was. It was hip hop was just coming into its own, but it was all about being original, all about coming up with your own fashion, your own styles. I remember, man, we used to make shit like that's why I do with my I get the jean jackets and like put patches on them and all of that. That was straight hip hop in the 80s. You know what I mean? This is a throwback. I mean, like that's what
I do with my jean jackets now.
My
jean jackets now, patch them out, all that.
I mean, we created. We created outfits, man. Created stuff.
Who wants to wear a plain jean jacket?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about fashion, man. It's all about originality. But Kid Creole said when we did things that we did in order to try to develop a culture, we did it genuinely for the love of it. He said we didn't try to emphasize any negative things like drugs, violence, or disrespect to women. That was not part of hip hop at the time. He said we modeled ourselves after the Motown artists. That's why we did stuff like wearing the costumes and the stage, all of that. But by 1978, the Glover brothers teamed up with fellow MCs Cowboy, Keith Wiggins, and Raheem Guy Williams, and Mr. Ness, Eddie Morris, and Turntable Wiz, DJ Joseph, Grandmaster Flash Sadler to form the unit Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. Notice how the DJ's name was first, right? The DJ was what it was all about. It was all about the music at that time. The DJ was the star of the show. The MCs were there to boost the DJ, really talk about the DJ, talk about the party, help. But it was all about the DJ. So it was Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. You got two comic book references. You know what I mean? You got the Flash, to he's Flash. He's the Flash. He's super fast on the mixer. Woo woo. And then you got the Furious Five, like Fantastic Four, but it's five of them, and they wanted to be furious, not fantastic. So you know what I mean? But you got heavy comic book influences, and eventually they signed to Sugar Hill Records and became architects of a then burgeoning culture. And it was Kid Creole who first coined the phrase "Yes, yes, y'all," which has since been widely used by generations of MCs. The star of Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five rose quickly and steadily with tours around the globe, man. They used to be in Japan, everywhere. Records, which was crazy back then because rap wasn't. What is mine? Sorry, guys. I'm really sorry. I thought my thing was on silent. My bad. But yeah, man, they did global tours, had hit records, heavy radio rotation. Their 1982 social commentary smash hit, "The Message," was honored with the coveted #1 slot on Rolling Stone magazine's list of 100 greatest hip hop songs of all time, and was selected by the Library of Congress to be entered into the National Recording Registry. In 2007, the group received the supreme honor of being the first hip hop act ever to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And this accolade has been their most prestigious tribute to date until recently. In December of 2020, it was announced that Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five will be presented with a Lifetime Achievement Award at the upcoming 63rd Annual Grammy Awards. And while the group is being honored as a collective, each member is due to receive their own individual personalized statue as commemoration. Each member, that is, except for Kid Creole. Due to Kid Creole's current legal situation, the Recording Academy decided to exclude him from receiving his own statue or any other individual acknowledgement. He remains pragmatic, yet is clearly disappointed. He said, "It's unfortunate that they can't understand the truth because I was never placed in a position where the truth could come. Stories, that they heard, and those news stories were distorted by the people who control them." He said, "I understand them looking at my situation and saying they can't reward me for behavior that's considered deplorable. If I was on the committee, I wouldn't reward a person who was accused of behaving in such a manner myself." He does, however.
Well, hold on, time now. Wait. Will Smith just walked up on the stage, smacked the living dog shit out of somebody, and he can't get a statue that he got made for him. He's a pun.
I was getting there. Yep,
it don't matter what the man did. Come on, man. It don't matter what the man did. Whatever, man. He earned the award. He earned it. He did. I mean, I get if you saying he can't receive it, like walk up on stage and get it. No, right, I get that. But just saying that you're not going to acknowledge him at all, or just put him out because come on, man, you can't.
That's insane. It's wrong. It's dead wrong. It's dead wrong. Yeah. He influenced the whole generation, their children and grandchildren. I mean, he helped start a culture, the culture that we love. Some of us love to our soul. Some of us live. You know what I mean? Hip hop is I think everyone in this on this panel's life. And when a pioneer, when one of our legends, is being wrongly I don't know, again, man, we don't know, but the evidence, dude, is really strong in my opinion that he's innocent, if not innocent, but definitely not like a murderer. Like, it's not like I just and it's sad because, like you said, Stu, he should be at least given the award, if not just not presented it. But at the time of his arrest in 2017, numerous media reports depicted the incident as the result of homophobic rage. So they may be, that may be what's motivating their their decision to not award him. Glover explains, though, that he gave a full statement to detectives, portions of which were later repeated by the assistant district attorney at a press conference. Creole said he disclosed his first impression of Jolly hitting on him, as well as how that perception quickly changed. His initial assessment of Jolly was emphasized as the conflict's main motivation. In spite of such character assassination in the press, the legal case makes no mention of such bias as the motive. He said, "I think they took the narrative in order to justify charging me with murder. Because if you look at the prosecutorial line that they're trying to take right now, they're not even saying anything like that." He said,
I mean,
"Indeed,
I get it. Because according to New York, I don't know, like Lee said, every state is different. And when you look up like California is pretty much the standard when it comes to second degree murder. But some states vary just slightly, a little bit. Like they'll have just a little something different. But it all just boils down to one thing: acts of violence that are just not condoned to be civil. Not that violence is civil, but it's just that
well,
you just
that
they
it's not
basically
that it's
yeah
not
basically just
premeditated.
saying no, it's not premeditated. It's basically
It just happened.
second degree. Nah, second degree murder is basically it's like this. You just
It's
don't
like you
care
did something
about
you
human
knew
life.
was deadly, but you weren't intending or premeditating to kill someone,
Nah,
but
nah.
someone could have
And
died from it. That is what it
yeah,
is.
and no. In layman's terms, it's like this. You basically took a life without the care for life. So like if you shot somebody, they're saying you could have shot him in the arm, but you shot him in the face. Instead of stabbing him in the heart, stomach, you stabbed him in the heart. Instead of slashing him and cutting him across the face or slashing, put marks on his body, you straight up thrust the knife into his body. That's
Right.
that's that's the lamest terms of second degree murder.
Well,
It's
the
just that
actual
you have
definition
a
is
reckless
non
regard for life.
non-premeditated killing resulting from an assault in which
Right.
the death of the victim was a distinct possibility. So that's what I said. If you're doing something you know could kill somebody and
Yeah,
they
but what
get
state
killed,
is that? Yeah, but what
you're
state is that?
that's just the definition of second-degree murder.
But
Second-degree
what's
murder is different from first-degree murder, which is premeditated, intentional
right,
killing, or result from a
premeditated,
vicious
right.
crime as
But
like
what
arson,
but
rape,
you
or armed robbery.
but you got to look at the state too. I look at the state because that, like Lee said, in California, it's just different. Like it's just different. You got to look at the state. So you can't say second degree murder is the same everywhere because it's not. Because what was the dude Kyle Rittenhouse? That was second degree murder. He shot mom. He shot people. Like he
Well,
could
yeah,
have shot him in the knee. He could have shot
every
him in the leg, but he shot to kill.
every
He didn't
state has
shoot.
their own individual laws and stuff, but second degree murder is there's definitions of first degree, second degree. Now, how they come about choosing
First
which one
degree.
it's going to
Well,
be
first degree we all
or the
know if you
penalties
plan it,
are
right?
different by state.
Right. Well, we know if it's first degree, you plan it. We already know that. But second degree, it's a little different. There's what you call
It's
gray
very different.
areas. There's gray areas when you start talking about second degree murder. And when Rittenhouse went to court, they danced in those gray areas because he should have went to jail. That boy should have went to jail. He should be behind bars. He killed somebody. He took a life
Right.
without. He basically took a life of somebody else without
Well,
consent for life.
it's
He just
second
shot.
degree murder, meaning he was out there with a rifle, knowing that that rifle could kill somebody in a volatile situation
First of
during a
all,
riot. He
first of
knew
all, he
that
was out there and
deadly.
shouldn't have been out there. First of all,
Right,
he's out there, shouldn't have been out there. Somebody dropped him
right,
off out there to go out there. Third of
exactly,
all, he's being a vigilante. Vigilantism is outlawed. Why
right.
are you out there with a gun defending people's property when it's not your own?
It ain't even your property. But
So
anyway, I don't want to get into.
that's my. Nah,
I
I
know.
mean it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
nothing to get into. But I'm just saying it's just you're dancing around a gray area. And Lee said it best. It just varies from state to state. And
Right.
like I
Hey,
said, if you got money and you got a lawyer,
Go ahead,
you
Lee.
got influence, you gonna get it off.
all right, check this out. It's like dude that I know walking to the store. Dude from a rival gang is in the parking lot. Dude from the rival gang starts hollering at my buddy, right? My
Mhm.
buddy ignores it. Dude gets out of the car, approaches my buddy. My buddy makes a stance. Pulls a knife out. chases my buddy around the car, catches my buddy. They tussle. During the tussle, my buddy ends up with the knife and kills dude. Okay. Hella witnesses, all this stuff, right?
Right. Clear
My buddy
self-defense.
court, and the only thing they could legit like stick on him was third-degree manslaughter, self-defense. Okay. It was completely self-defense,
But he was
not a
not
single
engaged
subject
in
for other
an
dude.
act.
And now check this out. The point was though, my buddy still killed somebody, so he still had to go to prison.
Right.
He got like little time. He got 3 with half. 3 years with half because it was self-defense. You know, and you know, and everyone could. Oh, he only did a year and a half for murder. That's not the fucking point, man. The point is he still had to go to prison, even though it was 100% self-defense, man.
Because every state
he took a life. That's what California looked at as. He took a life, and so he had to get some time. Yeah, you know, like taking a life. It's taking a life. Like we have our own perception of what we feel justice is. Justice does not equate the law.
You got street justice. You got street justice, and then you got the law. And you and that's what they mean. Because street justice is street justice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You gonna get it.
It's like how you said in the beginning, Stu. Like the law is the law.
It reads one way.
I mean,
it reads one way.
When you break the law, like depending on your reason, people will have sympathy for you, or they'll say, "Oh no, he still broke the law. She still broke the law." You know, I mean,
that's what they did. With Rittenhouse.
Like, and I 100% that should have did time. Like 100%, he should have did time, man. His mom who drove him across the state line should have did time. Like she transported him with a gun, man, across the state line. Like,
right?
What?
That's like Reno. Would you take Blaze? Let him tell you, Dad, I got my gun. I'm going to go out here and defend people's properties and this riot that they have in downtown where y'all live at.
And was he a minor, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I said, would you let Blaze? Look, would you let Blaze? Would you let Blaze? If Blaze came to you and said, "Hey, Dad, people downtown where we live at, and I'm going down to defend them. I got the gun, Dad. I'm gonna go down there. Can you give me a ride down there? Because you know I ain't got no license. But can you give me a ride down there?
Would you?
You come on, man. You know
Hell no. I mean,
right? Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
Right. That's what I mean. But see, but check it. I found New York. New York says that under circumstances demonstrating a deprived indifference to human life, the defendant recklessly endangers in conduct which creates a grave risk to death another person and thereby causes the death of another person. That's New York's definition of it. But New York also has definitions of it that all the New York's definitions of second-degree murder have to do with crimes, except for, and there are 5 different definitions, except for 2. So the first one is the intent to cause death to another person. He or she causes the death of such a person or a third person. That's one. I read 2, and the other 3 all have to do with committing a crime. So he wasn't robbing anybody. It wasn't a felony. He wasn't knocking over a liquor store, nothing like that. It was an incident where they got into it as human beings, and he stabbed him and he killed him. So that would fall in definition number 2.
See, this is like Lee's buddy. It's the same thing with Lee's buddy. It's third degree because he was not partaking in an act or displaying or doing anything that could cause a murder. So you know, he was just like Lee's buddy.
It was straight out our neighborhood store. Like it wasn't like he went to like another hood store where it could have, you know what I mean? There was no woulda, shoulda, coulda with his intent that night.
Exactly.
But see that
Kid Creole, he's leaving his job, walking home.
But the difference between Lee's buddy and Kid Creole is, it says here, a depraved indifference to human life. Lee's buddy came out of the store. He was minding his own business, and then that happened to him. He just happened to get in a scuffle, and he won. But there was violence that ensued because of it. Violence in any way in the United States, I need y'all to understand this, is outlawed. So we can't just walk around punching people in the face, walking up on stage and smacking the shit out of people.
Well,
It's just outlaw. It's outlaw.
you're not saying that
So
it's different what happened with Kid Creole and Lee's buddy, right?
no, right? Lee's buddy was different because Lee's buddy was minding his business.
But Kid
coming out
Creole
the
was
liquor
too. He was
store.
minding his business.
Wait,
He
all
was
right, wait, let
walking
me
home from
finish.
work.
Here's the difference, and that's why I said the law
I'm gonna tell
reads one
there
way.
is one difference. The only difference is that Kid Creole was carrying a knife and Lee's buddy was not. Lee's buddy
that's
used
why I
the other
said,
guy's knife.
now look, that's why I said
That's
deprive
where they're
indifference
trying to
to
hit him
human
with
life,
second degree because
and
he's
that's why I
got a
said
knife which could kill someone.
reckless. He was already by carrying the knife, Rena.
Right.
He's already recklessly endangering people's lives.
Yes,
In the
that's what I
contact,
mean.
which he creates great
That's
risk
what makes it
because
second
he can
degree
pull the
because
night
he's
out.
doing.
He can pull the night off at any time and just go
Yeah.
go all
Exactly.
Freddy
He
Krueger.
got something that could cause a death. But here's what I want to talk about is what do y'all think about the hate crime? There's no hate crime pending hate crime charges on him now. And he said now they're taking this position that he was basically standing on the side of a building, minding his own business. Then I walked by, pulled a knife, and started assaulting him. They made me seem like I was the villain, and the person who actually attacked me was the victim. How do they justify charging me with murder when this guy attacked me? But do you think that they should be pursuing or using the homosexual? Because here's what he said. He said, I thought he was hitting on me at first. Then I kept walking away. Then I realized he's attacking me. So he didn't react because he thought he was hitting on me. That's just what he said started it. But that's just what he said happened first. What had him react with the knife was that he thought he was being attacked.
There's a lot of so how you said once they got out of camera shot, like there's all these. What if dude could have went? What if he did grab Kid Creole? What if he did get physical? You know what I'm saying?
Know.
Like there, but we
don't know.
I mean,
we don't know.
And as you said it, how from what you read that even after when he returned, he wasn't staggering or acting like he was injured.
Right.
You know, which is really like I don't know. If my intention was to kill somebody, man, I'm not gonna slice him and I'm gonna kill you, man.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. I'm putting this shit in your throat.
It's weird. I think by them trying to play that up, I think it's because they honestly don't have anything on him other than self-defense, man. Like that's just my opinion. Like I said, we don't know the whole story.
We don't know everything.
But for them to pursue that issue now, like I don't know, man. That's kind of.
That's all they have. That's all the lawyers got. The public defender, that's all they got. They don't have nothing else to hold on to. And New York does that. They make deals. They do that all the time.
His previous arrest record was widely reported. However, a closer examination tells a not so apparent story because he has 3 prior arrests for weapons possession charges. At 5'6" tall and slim, he's not considered physically imposing. But regardless, since his youth, he's found himself like repeatedly targeted, even being shot at once because as the victim of an attempted robbery, and he felt the need to carry something to defend himself after that. And John Jolly had a much lengthier criminal record consisting of 16 arrests, 3 of them being violent felonies for which he served time. One conviction was for rape and kidnapping, leading him to being a registered sex offender. So, like, it seems so clear.
I mean, he could have, like I said, out of camera shot, he could have went and tried to get physical. He could have been groping on him. We
don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, like I said,
all we know is somebody got stabbed and somebody went to jail. That's how we know. And so we got to go with that. So it could be self-defense. Man could have been trying to get him off him. The other dude could have had the knife. And he took it from him, like Lee's buddy. But then, the guy that got stabbed could be like, that wasn't my knife.
Yeah, well, he admitted it. He admitted having the knife.
So
that he
if he
because he's been shot and robbed before. I mean, he's a small dude, so of course he's in walking through Manhattan at night.
But you're not gonna find too many people in New York that don't carry something.
Not carrying something.
Come on.
Whether it's a screwdriver, a box cutter,
some kind of weapon, right? So they got a little pole in their bags. You ain't gonna find too many people in New York ain't got something on them, bro. You know what I mean? Especially if they walking home at night, or they know in a situation they gotta go through a questionable neighborhood or something to get home. If they walking, come on, bro, they gonna have something. Yeah. We got something in the city, so it is what it is.
Meliquin, what's up?
Jameliquin, what's up, man? Jameliquin, man, do you carry a knife? You know, when you go to
Mm.
questionable spots in the city, you know what I mean?
You
Let us
know,
know. Let us know
in
in the
my
chat,
opinion,
man. Let us know.
I think every man a pocket knife. That's always gonna be on me. Not as a weapon necessarily, but as a tool. I mean, I can't tell you.
Utility
I
blade.
use this knife
It's a
every.
utility blade.
It's a utility blade. Exactly. It's a tool. But I honestly use it every day. Every day there's some reason that I need to use that tool, and I've never used it as a weapon. So I think, it's not so crazy that he had this knife on him. I don't know why he's carrying a goddamn steak knife. I mean, who carries kitchen knives? I don't know, but
I mean, that's
you
probably
can't
all
really.
he had at the time. He probably
Maybe it's
couldn't
all he
afford a
had. I
good.
mean, yeah.
Yeah, he couldn't afford a good joint. That's all,
Mm.
man. But a knife, a knife is a knife. All
Knife
right.
is a knife. His formidable legal battle has not been entirely without support. He says LL Cool J, Fat Joe put up the money to retain his first attorney, who represented him for 1 calendar year, meeting with him only twice, and he missed a total of 8 court dates on his case. So that sucks. Since he has made do with a succession of court-appointed lawyers, equally, if not more disappointing to him. Now on his third public defender, he's lacking the funds for better representation. He's less than optimistic, and there's still no trial date set. But he says, "I'm suffering. I'm locked in a room 24/7, 7 days a week, day in, day out, not knowing what my fate's going to be." Because my case is dragging on. It's very difficult for me right now. And you got to feel for him because honestly, I would never, ever go to trial on a murder with a public defender. That's like you might as well represent yourself. They're too busy. They got too many clients. They can't focus. Their every waking moment is not on your case. And in a murder trial, you need someone who that's what they're focused on, your trial.
OG,
If
OG
you can't
Lee,
afford that,
would you agree with that? Would you agree with that, OG Lee? Or would you take your chances with the PD?
would you go to court on a murder trial with a PD? God,
Would I?
yeah.
Yeah. Would you take
Oh,
your chances with the PD?
absolutely.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking
I
about. That
hey,
man. Now you see
I've
why
beat
he
my
OG Lee. You
yeah,
see why he
I've beat life
OG Lee
sentences,
around
bro.
here.
Straight out. I've beat life
So what?
sentences out here. I've beat strike laws. I've beat shootings out here. Like me as someone who's done time and whatnot or whatever,
Yeah.
like it's weird when it comes to the justice system because I've legit been arrested for shit I did not do,
Mm-hmm.
and I legit beat those cases. Like
Right.
justice honestly prevailed like throughout my life, man. Like straight out.
I
Like
believe.
I've
Listen,
got busted for stuff I've done, and I've done my time. I ain't gonna,
right.
straight out. I've done all that stuff too. But there were
Exactly.
times, man, where they try to hang me out to dry for something I didn't do.
They
I've been
will
set
every
up
time.
all this crazy things I've been through, man. And out here, justice was justice, bro. Like, and I've had paid attorneys in my life. I've had PDs, man, and I will always look them in the eye and ask them if they believe me. That's the first thing I do when I get a public defender, and I can tell if they do or if they don't. And if they
Right.
don't, Marsden motion, you're out of here.
Right.
Like you're gone. Like next,
You got
next,
it.
next.
You
I
have
do
to
that
get the
until I
right.
find one that I believe believes me.
See now, if you and every state's different and public defender is different, depends on your city. Like the cities that I've dealt in court, public defenders are swamped. You can't. But I did get lucky with one time with a public defender. He was phenomenal. Like he was better than I could have ever hoped for a paid lawyer being. I mean, he really went. He got the shit dropped, like completely thrown out, and it
See,
was
it
back
happens,
then.
bro. It happens.
But when I'm dealing with a life sentence, when I'm dealing with a murder trial, man, and it's this questionable, and I've already had this much bad luck with a lawyer, I'm not doing the public defender thing, man. Or like you said, if it's legal in your state, or if there's a way you can do it, just to keep throwing public defenders out until they give you one you like, then yeah, if you got that option, you better take it, man, because 9 times out of 10, those public defenders are not. It's not that they're bad lawyers. It's not that they're inept or anything. It's just that they're too busy. They've got too many cases that they're dealing with at any one time.
Hey,
That's the
hey,
only thing.
how many times have you legit seen the public defender with rumpled hair, his tie loose, his shirt half tucked, briefcase with
Oh yeah,
papers sticking out of it,
yeah,
man?
for real. Like suit hanging off, bro. Yeah, fucking
Yes,
scrambling with
yes.
papers. Dog.
I mean, oh my God, man.
You're like, oh my god, like this is not gonna be good. Yeah, bro. They're and another thing about public defenders, all right, they might be on a career path to be a prosecutor. In
Yep.
which case they're going to help the prosecutors in cases in many ways. My aunt, who was a public defender for a while, her intention was to be a prosecutor. She got tight with all the prosecutors. She got tight with all the judges, really tight. And then when she became a prosecutor, she did that for 10 years, prosecuted like child rape cases, child molestation, child abuse cases, made a huge name for herself for 10 years. Then she quit and became a criminal defense attorney.
Fuck
But
yeah.
she had 10 years getting tight with all the prosecutors and judges. So now as a criminal defense attorney, when she walks in with her client, the judge is like her buddy. They go to lunch all the time. The prosecutor's the friend. You know what I mean? So genius move, man. Because like I said, if you get tight with all the other side, and then you become a criminal defense, you're gonna get a lot of help. But
Absolutely.
yeah, out of many a scrape. Many a scrape.
That's true.
But yeah. Kid Creole's ordeal further underscores a larger issue in hip hop when pioneering progenitors of the culture are far too often left without financial wherewithal that property reflects the significance of their contributions, right? Unlike their counterparts in other genres, like rock and roll stars, that old school rock and roll stars are still rich, they're still, you know what I mean? But it's crazy to me that such a originator of a many hundred billion dollars a year genre or culture is
What's
broke
this
like
different
that,
for
man.
rap? What's different for rap, man? Because when they came out back in the day, you had a single, album maybe, but they did a lot of singles, man. They
And they
pushed a
got
lot of
horrible
singles.
deals.
And they got
Signed
very
horrible
horrible deals,
contracts.
right? A lot of them didn't get any residuals. They didn't think about it. A lot of them don't own any masters.
Right.
It's just a lot of it was a lot of things that the record company got over on them, man. And they
And it
at the
happened with
time,
black music in the 50s and the 40s and the 30s
right?
and the
All of them will tell you the same
60s.
thing. Every artist from rap to R&B to pop to polka, I don't care what genre of music is, they all say the same thing. Look, it was a deal. It was the best deal we could get. We took it. We
Or it
just
was the
wanted to get
first deal we
on.
got. We saw
Right,
dollar signs, didn't know no better.
right. Right. We didn't know no better, so we took it and we ran with it. But we had a good ride, and that's what a lot of them tell you. They be like, we took what came down the pike. That's all we could get, so we
Yeah.
took it. And
I
the record
mean,
companies know that.
had the scales been more justly balanced, would a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee have needed to be walking to a night job and therefore encounter a John Jolly in the first place? He said I was basically trying to uphold my responsibilities. I had to make sure those responsibilities were met. That's the reason why I was on 43rd Street that night. Just unfortunately working a job. That's what he had to do. He's now left to do his best to stay warm as he ponders these things on the boat, awaiting his day in court. He said, I regret that this incident happened. I never intended on hurting him. It would have been far better for me if he would have just left me alone, but he scared me and I was trying to defend myself. The defense is something that Kid Creole has become all too familiar with. While dedicating himself to entertaining others, he's defended himself against the attackers such as Jolly his entire life. Now he defends his reputation as he fights for his freedom despite daunting odds at the highest stakes. A dude named Frenchie Montana, and I don't think it's French Montana the rapper, but that's his screen name. He tweeted or commented. He said, I was locked up with Nathaniel Glover, aka Nat, as he refers to his prison name. He said the guy has lost his mind. Speaking from my previous jail job as a suicide prevention aide, SPA, I used to hear him talking to himself every night. The guy never left his cell except for an occasional shower, grabs a whole loaf of bread every Sunday morning, and goes to the commissary once a month and buys out all the peanut butter stock. He said Nat was one time. He said Nat one time was late to breakfast, and then another inmate he accused another inmate of tampering with his loaf of bread and went crazy. I believe this man needs help, and I hope he gets the help he needs. Could be true, could be, but
I don't know. I
don't
wasn't
know.
there, so I don't know.
Wasn't there, and it's not really relevant. But I thought that was
All I can
interesting.
say is I'm gonna pray for him, and I hope it's not true. That's all
Yeah.
I can do, bro.
Yep.
That's all I
Well,
can do.
it is, yeah, exactly. But yeah, I promised folks that we would definitely give them more information on the Kid Creole case on today's show. But to get to the main meat of the night, we got Moon Knight, episode 1. Stu, you watched it. What'd you think?
It was for first episode, it was all right. It wasn't bad. I mean, they did all. I'm hoping the second episode we're done with all the introductions and just the setting up of the character, because at the end they showed him in the full Moon Knight costume when he took over. When
Yeah,
the one personage is like, Leo, let me take over, and we're gonna get out of this. It was a lot of, they set you up for that. They set you up for, they show when he blacks out, then he came to, and everybody's dead, and he's standing there like, oh man, but bloody. So
yeah,
we want to see the action. And
yeah.
in that first episode, they didn't give it to us.
It
So
was
we're gonna need
not.
to
It
see
was
it.
not. Yeah, it was not a lot of action in this episode. That would be my only complaint. There was not. There was. There was the implication of action. Like we know Moon Knight whips some ass, but we didn't get to see it. Right?
Right.
They gave it. They did it as like he was just there in danger. Then the screen clicks and everybody's laying dead around him. He doesn't know how or what, and we didn't get to see it either. But we know Moon Knight whoops some ass. But
Because we get to see the perspective of what's the
we've
dude
seen
name,
it
Steven?
from
We see it
we've
from
seen it
Steven's perspective.
Steven's
So
perspective,
when
right?
Steven miss, we miss. We miss everything he misses.
Yep.
We want to see it from the perspective of one of the other personalities.
Mhm.
That's what we want.
Yeah, and we were promised a darker, edgier series for the superhero, for this superhero show. But early reactions to the show have been somewhat mixed amongst critics. I thought it was great. Like I thought it was a great first episode. They negated the whole, like, it was not an origin story. Like we don't need an origin story. Okay, we know, like, we can figure out his origin, but it seems like superhero movies are always, it's got to be the origin story. It's got to be it doesn't always have to be the origin story, and you can still make it good, and you can still bring people to learning about it and seeing it and whatnot, and without it being an origin story. Like you don't have to, because in this story, Moon Knight's already been a guy. He's already been a mercenary. People know him. He's already been doing his thing. But we're seeing Steven realize it, or come to it, find it out for the first time. So
For the first time,
it's like an
right? When he
origin to
found the
Steven,
phone. Yeah,
right?
like when he found the phone and the girl's like, yo, I'm looking for you for months. He was like,
Mhm.
huh? And then she called him a different name. He was like, I don't know. I just found his phone. So right now we got to see Steven's world.
Hey, so there's
I want to see the other
no Mark
characters.
Spector yet.
Yeah, well, so Mark Spector's there, but he's only there in his head, and then once in a
Right.
reflection in the mirror. Towards the end,
That's
he's in
it.
a
Yeah.
reflection in the mirror, and he's
Mirror.
telling him, let me take over, bro. Like,
Uh-oh.
there's this big demon dog trying to break in the door, and I can save us, but you gotta let me take over. And
Yeah.
finally he lets him take over. And then, but again, we only get to see him at the end, Moon Knight in full Moon Knight costume, whooping, the scene from the trailer where you saw him in that bathroom whooping on somebody. He's actually
Yeah.
whooping on this big demon dog from ancient Egypt. But I still feel like there's going to be an origin story. No,
I
they're
agree.
skipping the origin story thing. It's sort of an origin story because, like, it's being introduced to Steven, but Moon Knight's already been doing his thing. So we'll get it
Right.
as sort of an origin, but Moon Knight's not new Moon Knight. He's already seasoned Moon Knight. We're just going to get to see Steven realize who he is and maybe, interact more. but the acting is great. I mean, the writing was great. The show rather was great. I mean, all around. You might have wished to get more into seeing costumed Moon Knight whipping ass, but that's obviously coming episode 2 right off. So, but mixed the mixed whatever like reactions to the point where despite scoring pretty good overall, Moon Knight is the lowest scoring Disney Plus Marvel TV offering outside of some of those Netflix shows that they just ported over. But here's how it stacks up on Rotten Tomatoes. Um, you've got What If was at 94%, Loki was 92%, which I can agree with so far. What If was dope, Loki was dope, Hawkeye 92%, WandaVision 91%, and the Falcon and Winter Soldier 86%, which I don't really understand. I think that was one of the better ones. But then Moon Knight 81% is the lowest out of all, which I can't agree.
81% ain't bad.
Yeah,
Most
that's
shows don't even do
terrible.
right.
No,
Yeah,
and
81%.
overall, we're
81%
not
ain't
seeing
bad.
something on the level like it's lower by 5%, but 81 is still a very solid overall grade. Just compared to other Marvel shows, it's the least one. But like you said, 81's still great. And we're not seeing something on the level of a drop between like Mandalorian at 93% and Book of Boba Fett, which got 68%. And it should also be noted that Moon Knight hasn't shown critics all 6 episodes yet. So they really can't. It's
Hey,
not,
I gotta go. My phone's gonna die right now, man.
all right, brother.
But
Yo, thanks for
gotta
coming on,
count
my
you
man.
guys. It was awesome today, man.
All right,
Yo,
man.
can't wait to have you back
Uh,
on.
you didn't really talk.
Oh yeah.
Biding her time.
we'll get a chat next time, Ali.
Yes.
Promise.
I'm also sick, so that's why too.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh,
you don't look like you feel too well. Yeah, you don't.
Yeah, but I'm here because I do want to talk about the show.
we got guys playing
Did
hurt.
you see? Yeah, did you see?
Yeah, I watched it. I
right,
watched it
brother.
earlier today with my dad. It was
Peace
good.
out, my
I
man.
thought it was fine. I thought the there being less action, I felt like it was fine. It served the story, and I'm sure we'll get more of it down the line. So it didn't really bother me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, being somebody that seen Moon Knight for the first time, like, because you haven't read the comic
Mhm.
or anything, what would be your impression of the overall?
Character.
Um,
Or do you still not know?
I mean, I'm not sure because my impression of him before I watched the show is basically what we got. Like him
Mhm.
struggling with his multiple personalities and all that. I
Mhm.
wasn't sure what to think about the Amit. Was that what it's called? Wasn't sure what to think about that. But overall,
What, the
I'm not sure
Enad?
yet.
The Enad? The 10 gods?
Yeah, and I think that's what it was called. Yeah.
It was the Aenid. That's the 10 gods of Egypt. But
Yeah.
Khonshu, not yet. Yeah, Khonshu is the god that is gonna be that Moon Knight sort of is the avatar for. Little Spit. I just felt like it was similar to the way the Legion show started. Legion show.
Legion.
What Legion show? Oh, Legion. Oh, okay. Yeah, the show with Legion, the X-Men, the mutant Legion. They had.
Oh.
Yeah.
I never watched that show.
That show was so bad.
Ooh,
It was
yeah.
just
I
bad.
love the
I'm not
first.
missing
Season.
out.
The first season was good. It fell off, and it got weird, and it was very weird. It was, if you were looking for like X-Men stuff or any of that, they
No, it
didn't
wasn't
really
in
delve
there.
into it at all.
Nah,
But
it
it was a
wasn't
cool character piece. The first season was good. The actors were great, but it just wasn't. It wasn't Marvel. It wasn't mutants.
Mhm.
It was a lot lacking. But this, I think, is way different on a way better level. I mean, obviously, we are getting costumed up Moon Knight, and I do love the costume. It's sort of like they're going to the Egyptian style because his costume is like a mummy
Yeah.
wrapped, which is something they're using for the show that I've not seen in the comics. I never saw that. And maybe it was that at one point, but I'd never seen it. But early on here, Moon Knight does have a 90% audience score, right, which is very solid and more on par with the other Marvel series that were listed on that chart. And I also don't always trust critics when it comes to Marvel series in particular. You know,
Yeah.
They gave my beloved Punisher season 1, which I thought was my favorite season of a TV show that year that it aired, a 67.
I
And
agree
with
with that score.
I know you
I
do.
agree with that score.
But
Thank you.
as with
I
most of
agree
these
with that
Disney
score.
Plus series, I have no idea if Moon Knight is meant to be a one-off miniseries, uh, or if it's going to be a season 2. But judging by the Marvel movies that Disney Plus has done, or shows that Disney Plus has done, they're one shots. They're one season dones.
Yeah, because you know what I think.
I think
Well,
they
they said
learned
it
from
best
Netflix. Well, because Punisher
yeah,
season 2 was whack.
yeah. Well, they also did. They also said at their press conference that they want to bring these things to the big screen,
Mm.
but it's better to just do it as these episodic. They call it Marvel
Oh, I
considers
love it.
them
I love it. They're like
episodic
super long
movies.
movies. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what they consider them,
long movies.
Yeah.
episodic movies, because they said to bring a production crew and do a movie, it costs more money to do that than
Yeah.
to just give you this. And we can go the whole spectrum. We can do a lot of
We
different
get
things.
more story out of it. We love it.
Right. We get more story. We can divulge deeper, and we don't have to tell the whole story in a 1 or 2 hour, hour and a
Yeah,
half to 2 hour movie. We
right.
can go over a series of weeks, spread it out, and give you 6 episodes, which I think is great.
I love it.
Yeah.
If I had to go to the movies and sit down and see it, some stuff I'm just not like Eternals. I thoroughly enjoyed Eternals at home on my couch,
Mm.
but to go to the movies and see it,
Oh
I
boy.
was like, oh my god, like we were sitting there, I was like, oh, this is
It should have
okay.
been a
I mean,
TV
oh,
show.
right. Had you gave it to me, Black Widow. Everybody rags on Black Widow. I
That
thoroughly
should have been a
enjoyed it.
TV show.
I liked it.
Yeah, I loved it. I
I
sat
made it
and
through it.
watched it
Eternals, I
on
didn't
my
get through.
couch. I
Eternals,
watched it
I
on my
haven't
couch
seen
and I
all of
loved
yet.
it.
I like the opening to Black Widow. I think that was about it. Yeah.
I want to still watch Eternals though, because I want to see the celestial stuff, because I
It's
love
better on
that
your
stuff.
couch. Yeah, it's better on
Yeah.
your couch. You go to the movies, you're gonna be disappointed. You watch it on your
No,
couch.
I would never go to the movies to
Bravo.
see that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bravo.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and I've always, ever since The Sopranos, I've loved HBO shows, Showtime shows, some A&E shows like Breaking Bad and stuff like that. They're called like quality scripted drama shows. So it's like a whole departure from the typical TV show, sitcom, whatever, which I don't like at all. But I love films and I love movies. Some movies though I wish had more. Like that's why they give us trilogies and all of that. But with the shows, man, it's like watching, a 10-hour movie. You got 10 1-hour episodes. You're looking at a 10-hour movie, which is dope, and you don't have to sit and watch the whole thing at once.
Mhm.
I love these shows. I've started to like shows better than movies. Films have not been what they used to be. Films
No.
have just not been
Mhm.
up to par. So it's the shows for me. The shows I'm liking way better than films. But as with most of the Disney Plus series, I think we'll just get the one season. And unfortunately, this isn't only it's only a 6-episode show, which sucks.
I
With the
feel like
way
it
that
could work depending on the person.
yeah, and it's gonna be good, but I would love to see 10 episodes. I mean, I just think it takes. I just think with the way they did season 1, or with the way they did episode 1, so sort of drawn out. If this was a movie, episode 1 would have taken place inside of 5 minutes. All the information we got in episode 1, the whole 45 minutes, you know what I mean? That would have been in 5 minutes of the movie. So I think taking that out of a sixth of the film, it's risky, but hopefully they get heavy into the action in episode 2 and go from there, which
I agree.
I think would save it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with you.
And we've seen all of those dope spin-offs link to the movies. So how Moon Knight's going to link to the MCU, I can't wait to find out. If it's just going to be that he's going to be in some of the movies now, or if something that takes place in this show, rolls into the movies, I don't know. But I always love finding out how the shows relate to the movies, because they all do. That's one thing Feige said. He said these shows all connect to the movies in a way that they sort of foreshadow and they set it up. Like they set up stuff in those movies. You know, they set it up in the shows so that they don't have to waste time in a 2-hour movie. You know what I mean?
Right,
That way
giving
they
you
got stuff
right, giving you useless information. Yeah,
right.
I'm
Yeah,
with it.
and yeah. But given that Moon Knight is somewhat a more obscure character than some of the others who've gotten their own series, and has no anchor MCU character like Loki, Wanda, Vision, Bucky, Falcon, Hawkeye, like all the other series, I would expect those numbers to drop a bit. But it does have Oscar Isaac, a bona fide movie star, in the lead role, who is a really good actor. He just got bamboozled with Apocalypse, man. That was just unfortunate for him. And Poe Dameron, I mean, those movies, you know, we all know how those are received by the fans, but
He was
I
great as
think
Poe Dameron. Matter of fact, Poe Dameron needs his own.
that's
He
what I'm
needs
saying.
his one-shot Star
He's
Wars
always
like
great.
everybody else got.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he needs
always great.
his yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, and he's in one of my favorite movies, Sucker Punch. I mean, he's I've been watching him since Sucker Punch. He's a good actor. But when a low-scoring MCU series is sitting at an 81%, that's pretty good. If that's low, you know what I mean. And it echoes of how the movies usually go as well. Marvel's showing more consistency than Star Wars, at least, and that's something that I'll be checking out the pilot later on. You know, so Obi-Wan. So I can't wait. But yeah, man, it's finally here, and we've been waiting, and now it's here. Um, but if there's one word to describe Marvel Studios in recent times, it's experimentation. From the commercial disappointment of Eternals to the multiversal fan servicey projects like Spider-Man No Way Home, Marvel hasn't been shy about taking creative risks with its post Avengers Endgame productions, and that's great. I mean, I love it. I mean, it's not cookie cutter, basic stuff. So I love it. Inventive as those Marvel movies have been, though, it's Disney Plus where Marvel's artistic license has like really shined. Um, Disney's streamer has provided like a playground like platform for Marvel's creative juices to flow. With the sitcom styling of WandaVision, right? That was dope. They made like
Yeah.
they made like a old sitcom out of it, and the multiversal initial experience in Loki signifying a sea change in the studio's creative process with their character study like exploration, multi-genre positioning, entertainment value. It's not surprising that the duo are the most popular shows to date, but Moon Knight is also an experiment because they're talking about mental illness, right? That's a whole new category to break into. I mean,
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
definitely different. Moon Knight is definitely
I mean,
different.
they tried with Legion, but wasn't that great?
Ooh.
Yeah,
And it's
they
what we
tried with
got.
Legion.
Yeah, and I think they tried too hard. So
That's yeah, I would agree with that. They, they definitely tried too hard with Legion. They went far,
too far,
too far.
too deep down the rabbit hole.
Took too many
Way
red
deep,
pills. Too deep.
too deep, bro, too deep. Yeah, but I mean, overall, like I said, I thought for so far, I thought it was good. We'll see what next week brings.
Yeah.
And that's all I can do. But as far as everything else, man, One Night solid right now. Hopefully it becomes more solid, until it becomes concrete.
Fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm. But it's with Moon Knight that this newly developed creative recipe feels like a truly innovative step for the studio, though. Marvel's latest TV offering is a surreal, subversive, supernatural fueled addition to its established back catalog of superhero movies, but it's a show that fits into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but equally it's at the same time capable of existing outside of it, which is no small feat in a franchise that's built on interconnectivity and crossovers. that's saying a lot, because it's not like, oh, it's just separate. It's saying that it could be separate, right? Which is saying a lot, because they, everything is built on being interconnected, and without wanting to sound hyperbolic, it's quite possibly the best TV series Marvel's ever made. We
Oh, I can't say all that. Not yet.
we don't know. We don't know.
I'm a bit worried though, because if
I'm
he
not going to.
does transition into the MCU, I mean, the MCU is kind of toned down compared to its shows, and they don't take a lot of like creative risks. I mean, they tried with Eternals, but that was just too much. So I'm afraid, like, he may be raw in his own show, but when he gets to the MCU, he may be toned down, and it's like, I hope that's not the case, but
Yeah, I hope not.
possible.
Yeah, I hope not either.
Yeah. I mean, well, set in the present day of the MCU, Moon Knight tells the story of Stephen Grant, right? A gentle museum gift shop employee living a seemingly ordinary life. Stephen, though, suffers from blackouts and regularly dreams of leading a double life. After one particular nightmare sequence, he sees Grant run afoul of the mysterious Arthur Harrow, played by Ethan Hawke, and he really killed this role. Like, he's like this cult leader. We don't really know why. Like, the whole village, like this whole town, is like worshiping him, and he lets them. They let him judge them. Well, he's got this tattoo of scales on his arm, which actually moves, turns red and green. Like, he'll hold their hands, and if it turns green, great, your soul is pure, you're gonna live and you're gonna go to heaven. If it turns red, oh man, you've been judged early and you fall out dead, like you just die on the spot. So they really worship this dude, and we don't quite know why, but they follow his every beckon. I mean, they'll murder for him, die for him. So that's going to be interesting. And he discovers that Stephen, Moon Knight, discovers that he has dissociative identity disorder, which is a mental health condition where a person has multiple personalities, is what most people know about. And it just so happens that Grant's other persona, a ruthless mercenary called Mark Spector, is an earthly avatar of Khonshu, the Egyptian god of the moon and vengeance. So it's that theme of vengeance again, like we had in the Batman. It's that street level hero, vigilante, like Daredevil, like Punisher, like all the street level guys, and Moon Knight is there, like Batman, and he's granted superhuman abilities by the demigod Khonshu. And Mark also masquerades as the vigilante known as Moon Knight, who's trying to thwart Harrow's nefarious world-ending scheme. Harrow being Ethan Hawke, being the cult leader, and drawn into a conspiratorial mission that he has no business being a part of. Stephen must learn to work alongside Mark Spector, his other personality, and his ally Layla El Fowley, who's going to be played by May Calamaway, to stop Harrow while grappling with the inner conflict inside his own head. So we're going to get like this, dual story of him dealing with his mental illness, dealing with his, other personality, dealing with all of that, and the vigilante superhero stuff, and like some sci-fi supernatural Egyptian god stuff. It's a lot going on, and but it may sound like standard fare for an MCU production. That is, if you remove the mental health aspect that sets Moon Knight apart from other Marvel heroes in a way. But all Marvel heroes have some sort of very like common human defect or flaw, if you will. And because Stan Lee made it that way. That's how he set up Marvel. That's how he set up the heroes to have these sort of flaws that everyone that reads comics can relate to. But as plot summaries go, so it doesn't do justice to the frankly mind-bending and disorienting structure of Moon Knight's opening episode. For one, its use of non-linear storytelling makes a tense, disconcerting viewing. Steven suffers blackouts through the first episode, which, to summarize, is when Mark takes over Steven's body. But we never see the events that play out during these sequences. Instead, jolting camera transitions and cuts are like spliced together to make it seem like we've experienced the blackout alongside Steven, unknowingly jumped forward in time or lost track of time. And such instances occur whenever Steven is transported to an unknown location or moments after he's been involved in a violent confrontation with Harrow's followers, the cults, the cult members, I guess. And it's a level of narrative surrealism seen in similarly non-linear psychological thrillers like Memento. Have you seen it? Mulholland Drive. Um, and that makes Moon Knight a highly satisfying watch for me, like because it's so deep. And again, like I see that the show is gonna get good, like it's gonna get action packed, but I love that there's this real deep drama and like deep, you know, substance, to it. It's not just a cheap superhero movie. You know what I mean? Not saying superhero movies are cheap or that comics don't have substance, but this is the substance that this one has is really good. It's really substantial. Yeah.
Do you think it'll be better than Book of Boba Fett?
Infinitely.
I'm just saying. I'm just asking the question. That's all. Just asking the question.
Yeah, Moon Knight is cool as hell. Slade Wilson. I love Moon Knight. Always loved this character. Always thought he was dope. Never really read a lot of his comics. I've read a few, but I just always loved the character.
I read a lot. I can't say I read a lot. I read enough.
Yeah.
Like I want him to use his powers. Like I want to see him use his powers. Because he has enhanced strength, durability. Especially during nights with a full moon. So when there's a full moon, he's stronger. More durable. Like he's just stronger during the full moon. He can drain people's lives. Like he can take the lives out of their, he can drain the lives out of their bodies through like a touch. So it's a lot he can do. I'm just hoping they show it. Like make us respect what he can do. Yep. Yeah, right. Let's respect what he can do more. So we'll see what happens, man.
This is my favorite one.
Yeah, that is a dope cover.
That's my favorite cover right there. Yeah, that's Moon Knight number 15, the original. And then this is the latest series that's out right now, Moon Knight number 1. And that's a variant of Moon Knight number 1. This is I think volume 3. It's number 198. Just love the cover on that. This is from the new series as well. I think this is book 9. And it's obviously like an Egyptian hieroglyph with the representation of Khonshu and like a hieroglyphics. And then this is Moon Knight number 20 of I think volume 2 or volume 3. But what's dope in this Moon Knight number 20 is that after the comic itself, which is amazingly drawn, super dope, and it gets to the back half, which this is the cover of the very first appearance of Moon Knight.
Yeah, Werewolf by Night. Yeah.
Werewolf by Night, number 32. That's what the cover looks like. And it not only has the cover, it goes on to the entire comic. So it's got, and there he is, whipping on a werewolf, the stalker called Moon Knight. And so it's got this dope reprinting of the very first appearance, which is really great because you're gonna pay an arm and a leg for the actual first appearance of Moon Knight right now.
Yes, you are.
So yeah. So if you want to read it and you want to own, not be reading it digitally or whatever. Oh, wait, does it? Yeah, it does. Holy shit. Okay. And it also has the next issue, which is the second appearance of Moon Knight. That's issue number 33, which I did not even discover. I just now peeped that.
Got a little gem on your hands there, son.
So yeah, guys, definitely go look out for this cover. It's issue 20, and pick that up. You'll get the first 2 issues of the first appearance. That so you can really catch up. That's pretty dope. Marvel doesn't do that a lot. And then you got Moon Knight 29 right here, from the first series. Also one of my favorite covers. So these two are from the first series,
Yeah, that's
15
dope.
and 9. Yeah, I love these. Love these ones. Yeah. But I've read a lot of Moon Knight stuff, digitally. But Moon Knight's always been like in Spider-Man cartoons, like Spider-Man comics. So it's not like he's not like really obscure. I mean, people might not have
People know
like,
about him. Yeah, it's
yeah,
like Silver
but
Surfer. He has a cult following. Like Silver
yes,
Surfer, people
Mm,
know about him.
yeah, that's
He's
true.
well known. He just hasn't been bought into the, how can I say it? The people who don't care about comics spotlight.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. The casual audience.
Hmm.
This is his first time being introduced to the casual audience. So,
Yeah, right,
but
right.
the but the hardcore comic heads, they know who he is. They know what he
Oh
can
yeah.
do. They know.
Well, it's opening. The first episode is intentionally confusing, but that's what makes it great. And it's only through Steven's plucky probing that we're able to navigate Moon Knight's initially puzzling plot, and we're on this
Mhm.
journey with him. And rather than simply observing the plot that plays out, ironically, Steven's positioning as a physical conduit for audiences right near is near identical to the symbiotic relationship that Steven and Mark Spector has with Khonshu, which only serves to blur the lines further between fiction and reality. And of equal intrigue is Marvel's decision to introduce Steven slash Mark in a similar way to Tom Holland's Spider-Man. The web slinger's origin story has been covered extensively, in previous Spider-Man movies, like every time. So there was no need to retread old ground when he came into Civil War, Captain
Mhm.
America Civil War. So it's kind of, Moon Knight's introduction is similarly laid out, i.e., a character's who was pre-established in the MCU. But the potential problem here, though, is Moon Knight's relative obscurity among MCU fans, not comic fans, but MCU fans. Marvel's decision to forego the traditional origin story approach for the vigilante then may seem a baffling choice for like a lesser known character, but it's we're still getting the origin without doing the origin story. If that makes sense?
Yeah, it does.
You know, yeah. Weirdly though, this non-origin story approach works. The show's non-linearity might make you feel like you've missed a previous episode or a Moon Knight cameo appearance in another production, given the usual way that Stephen Mark is introduced. But it's exact vagueness that allows it's you know what? I think Stu Dog's got to take a break, or he's got to break out. Okay, Moon Knight. Yeah, he got to go fight crime uh, with Moon Knight. Uh, you got but yeah, man. Y- if you haven't watched it, I hope we didn't like spoil anything for you, but I don't think so. I think you're
Nah,
still gonna
it's a
get it.
pretty spoiler free.
Yeah, yeah, and
Nah. There's not, like you said, Reno. There's not much to spoil.
Yeah.
They introduce
right,
you to the character. They show you how he blacks out. The
Hmm.
only thing they haven't shown us is what happens when he blacks out.
Yeah.
We just
right.
see the
We see
aftermath. We just see
right the
whatever
aftermath.
whatever happened. Like when the guys ran up on him and he had the scarab, and then he blacked out. And then next thing you know, when he came back, everybody was knocked out, blood was everywhere, and he still had the scarab. So we want to see what happened during that blackout, and that's what I think that's what they're gonna do. Henceforward with these next few episodes, they show us
Hmm.
that. They just say, well, look, this is what happened when he blacks out. We showed you, what goes on with him, but this is what happens. This is why he's so special. That's
Right.
what we want to see.
Fingers
Yes.
crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, sir.
Well, this guy that read it, or that he's already seen them all. He said that he said, let me see, let me pull up his thing. He said they're pushed to the periphery as the show largely leans into generic superhero plot territory from episode 2 onwards, giving up too many of its secrets as it goes. He said, and that's a shame. Moon Knight truly shines when it fully embraces its mystical and gothic traits and reveals its mysterious plot points in a suspenseful way without spoiling anything. There are moments in episodes 3 and 4 that veer back into freakish and mythological territory. The
Mhm.
fourth episode's final sequence, in particular, is arguably the most unexpected and mind-boggling turn in MCU history. So we have that to look forward to. And he said it's these qualities that give Moon Knight a distinct feel among its Marvel brethren. So it's a pity they're occasionally relegated to the background. And I guess this guy actually got to see up to 4 episodes. I think 5.
Yeah, some people saw up to 4 episodes.
Yeah.
I'd
So
like
I don't
to know
know.
how.
I would
I'd
love
like
to know how.
Yeah.
No,
I guess
what it
I
is-
think because like if you're a YouTube critic, like
Yeah.
sometimes that door
Oh,
opens
they get
where
yeah,
you
they get
can
them
watch
early.
stuff
Yeah, they get them
early.
early. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
what
why they
you
come out
do-
with reviews and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'll be getting us that pass. So we'll have those things too. They'll do is they'll send me all the episodes, but they do it in a way that I can only watch it. Like I can't stream it, I can't show it, I can't record it. Like even if you try to bring in a group to like watch it together on
You can't.
like
You can't.
Zoom or whatever, it'll
Mhm.
just be blank. So, but there's ways around it, like because I got a buddy YouTuber who does it, and so there's ways around it, but we don't do those things because we want to stick to the rules. But yeah, no, we'll get that stuff soon for Sixth Element as well. But yeah, it's pretty dope. But that's our show, guys. It has been Reno Noir, Sixth Element Hip Hop, Stu Dog, Sada, and we are out. It is Wednesday. It is 8:03 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but we'll be back here Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for DC Power Hour, and hopefully Sada will be feeling 100%.
Yes, I should be. So I'm ready.
Yeah, just keep drinking orange juice and
Orange
resting.
juice and water.
Chicken
Yeah.
chicken noodle soup.
Chicken. All right, guys. Peace. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you.